Welcome to the Menifee Nolen Vetter Agency Base Shop calls. And I'm going to get started with the leaderboards. Top 10 this week. Looks like we had a really good week. The total was 38 families protected, $39,454 in APV. So if you went out this week and helped a family, pat yourself on the back. You've done good. If you didn't quite meet your goals, that's okay. The good news about this is we get to pick it up and start over and make up next week. So number 10, Mr. James McKeon, 3 applications, $1,424 direct to Mr. John Paul Vetter. We have number 9, Jonathan Gale, 2 applications, $1,475 direct to Miss Julia Pappas. We have number 8, Bill Collum, 2 applications, $2,004.48 direct to myself. Number 7, Miss Terry Myers, 1 application, a whopping $3,420 direct to Miss Stella Dinwiddle. We have number 6, Mr. Spencer Cusian, 3 applications, $3,765 direct to Mr. Chris Menifee. Then you have myself, 7 applications, $4,043.72 direct to Chris. Greg Shapiro, number 4, 1 application for $4,206 direct to Chris as well. Top 3, Miss Donna Bates, 5 applications, $4,359 direct to Spencer Cusian. Then you have Miss Stella Dinwiddle herself for 7 applications, $6,494 direct to Chris Menifee. Number 1, Mr. Brett Applin, 5 applications, $7,876 direct to John Paul. I wish I could see you. I don't know. I'm sure he's on the phone or something. Brett, I wish I could see you to high five you. Great job to everybody this week. As I mentioned, 38 families protected, $39,454 in premium. The base shops, Mr. Chris Menifee, by a long shot this week, 19 apps for $23,721. Then John Paul for 10 apps, $96.84. And my team did 9 apps for $6,048. So great job that for this week on the leaderboards. So guys, you've probably seen, I hope you've seen on the announcements, we're going to do, which we don't do much. And there's a good reason for that, because the company does such a good job with product training, not only from obviously the information you can gather from the web, but every Thursday, we have our Monday morning sales training calls. We have our Wednesday builders and national sales training calls. And then on Thursdays, we have webinars. So like yesterday, I know the Smith brothers hosted a webinar on the dialer. And then I believe the advisor success, which is a pretty common, it's pretty much a recurring Thursday webinar for annuities. So if the one thing I suggest to you is make sure you're plugging into everything. But today, one thing that I want to do is I discovered, because things move so fast, these carriers and things make changes and roll out products. And sometimes we're so, as humans, such a creature of habit, we just rock on with what's working. And I think there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I I would encourage you to get in the zone, learn, especially as a new agent, learn one or two products and carriers and enroll, because it's more about the system, not about the products. But with that being said, Mutual of Omaha has rolled out a new IUL Express product. Okay. It uses the same application as the Term Life Express. It uses the same simplified, fast underwriting as Term Life Express. It is so much more competitive. I have compared it a couple different ways to which would be my typical go-to IUL for National Life. Like, to be honest with you, it's not even a comparison. Now, the only difference is it is limited, just like Term Life Express. It's limited to, a max face value of 300,000, but that's going to cover most of everybody that we deal with. And not only that, you do not have to have E&O to write it. We're going to say that again. If you're a new agent, you do not have to have E&O to write it. Mutual of Omaha is a core carrier, okay? And they have an incredible trip, and they give you bonus points when you're writing IUL Express. So I have written, and they got a contest going on right now. I'm pretty confident. I meant to pull my numbers, but I'm almost certain that I've already, got won $500 just in the last 2 weeks. So I want to cover that product today, because while it is considered an advanced market product, Chris and I discussed, it's really, because of it being a core carrier, because you don't have to have E&O, because it's so competitive to even their standard term life. I think it's something that a new agent can really, study up a little bit on and still go out and write. Okay. You're going to be able to increase your APV, and it's not a fact. It's an educated opinion, but it's going to increase your persistency as well, because people are going to be less likely to cancel a policy that's technically permanent, not exactly, but can be, and it's building cash value, okay, compared to a term, right? So I want to preface this whole training. I'm not saying quit writing your term. That's going to cover a lot of people. I'm just saying this is going to be an option that you should consider. And I'll kind of talk about how I've been presenting it, because the worst thing you could do is try to complicate things. So you want to keep it extremely simple. And I've got a document, a printout that I stole from, not stole, I mean, he offered it, but I got from the Larry Spoth IUL training that I'm using just to kind of educate the client and just before I show them the prices. Okay. So taking notes, we're probably not going to be a whole hour today. So I definitely want to leave some time for any questions. I will be honest with you, I may not be able to answer them because I've only been rocking it for 2 weeks, but I have gotten pretty familiar with it. I really think it's incredible. So just take some notes, write down any questions you may have, because everybody on this call can write this today and Monday of next week. Okay. So let me share my screen and get over here. I basically am going to be using the presentation that the Mutual of Omaha did on their webinar. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Dale Menifee was on that webinar, so he may be able to chime in here in a minute too. So bear with me here. I'm going to share my screen here. Move this out of the way. All right. Everybody see my screen? Give me a thumbs up. Gotcha. All right. Let me get this. I wish I could figure out how to move this thing that makes me not be able to see. All right, that'll work. Okay, now I gotta move this. All right. All right, so this is the indexed universal life express from Mutual of Omaha. And oh, hold on, y'all bear with me. All right, so they use the S&P 500 index. You only have one option for index. All right, it's the S&P 500. Now you do have a couple different options on how you want to use that index, but so the issue ages are 18 to 70. It's just like Term Life Express. It's also 18 to 65 for tobacco, just like Term Life Express. The face amounts are 25 to minimum to 300,000. Now they have these index strategies. So this one here, the 100% par, 10% cap, what that means is your client receives 100% of the S&P 500 returns with a 10% cap. Okay. So if next year, if the S&P goes up 20%, your client's cash value grows by 10. If it's down 20%, they don't lose a dime. Okay, it don't go down. All right. That is also the one that I'm going to recommend for the majority of people because it's called Easy Solve. Keep it simple. This other one, and what that means is the client or you expect the S&P to average returns. Right? If you think the S&P is going to be higher, then you can use this option, which is 140% participation, 7.5% cap. Or you've got, if they think it's going to be better, you can do 50% par, just uncapped. Look, if the stock market's up 20%, that means this client's going to get 12, or 11. I'm not good at math in my head. So I think the Easy Solve is the easiest route to go. Telling them they can get up to 10% a year, they're going to love that. Hey, you get 100%, whatever the stock market is, you get 100% of that with a 10% cap. By the way, that 10% cap is higher than National Life Group's right now. Their cap is at 7.5 as of last check. Now they've been making some changes, so that could have changed too. So features, it has a 20-year guarantee. That means that the premium, the face amount, the policy is essentially guaranteed for 20 years. It's a little different depending on the age, and we'll get to that in a minute. The living benefit riders, it includes that. We'll cover that. Coverage to 120, competitive loan options. All right. That's the basics. So you can see here the simplified underwriting, their age, build chart, MIB, pharmaceutical, MBR, phone interview as needed. Chris, can you mute somebody? Build chart, it's the same underwriting. I ain't gonna spend a whole lot of time on this chart. Check your underwriting, it's the same. Okay, no difference on that. Living benefits, terminal, chronic, and critical. Okay. It's telling me here, critical illness, right, not available in California. Sorry if you're in California. I'm sure you're probably already aware of that and used to that. Waiver of surrender charges for partial withdrawals rider, guaranteed insurability, and lapse guard rider. So there's two ways that you can run a quote. Most of you, if you ran any Mutual of Omaha, you're familiar with their, mobile quote tool or the app. You can run a quote there. What you can't do on the app is get the illustration, all right? But you can easily run a quote, pull out your app right now or the thing, compare yourself. But you can just run a quick quote, put in the face amount or put in how much they can afford. It's going to tell you based on the 100%. The Easy Solve, the mobile quote tool does the Easy Solve. It's the 100% participation, 10% cap rider. It's essentially going to show you what we typically think of as the par. The names escape me, but It's the simplest to do, and that's what I would recommend that you run this on for the most part, unless you have a very particular client or case or whatever. But to do the full illustration, you will need to register yourself and get approved with winflexweb.com. I'm going to try to hopefully have time to show you a quick illustration on there. But just write that website down. You'll need to go and register so that you have access to the illustration tool. It's a simple, easy illustration to run, much easier than National Life again. Here's the kicker. As of now, this is paper app only. Paper app only. I was bummed when I found it out. However, I use an iPad. I have a PDF Expert app on there. So I have simply been completing it on my iPad, signing it on my iPad, submitting it. I'm not printing a bunch of 20, 50 pages of paper and all that. So if you have the ability to do that, you're technically savvy to do that, that's what I'm going to tell you to do. Otherwise, just understand that it is a paper app. It's the same app though, so it's not like you got to learn a lot of stuff, but you do have to do the illustration. So this tells you about what you got to get signed. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. You can definitely look up, get that information. Obviously, it's the same underwriting and then deliver the policy. So if you don't get the full illustration signed at point of sale, you will have to deliver the policy, get it signed, get it submitted before you get paid. So what do you think you should try to do if at all possible? Be prepared, be able to do it, get it at point of sale is my opinion. This is showing you kind of current processing time, the percentages. In my experience so far, they've gotten it done within 3 to 5 business days, which is kind of the standard, they tell you. As long as you got everything, accurate and ordered, or, you didn't screw up the app or left something off. So just pay attention to that. I'm seeing some questions come in. I'm going to wait until we get done, and I'll definitely look at those. Appreciate y'all doing that. Here's the fastest way to get paid. Now, this is how I'm using it, okay? But I would encourage you, if you're fairly new, let your upline review the application. So what this is, essentially, when you submit a paper app, it's going to go if you put this email in there, your upline has to approve it, and then it's going to be emailed. So that's what I'm going to tell you to do is make sure when you go to do a paper app, mine has the fax number in it. You can drop down email and put in this email address, and as soon as your upline reviews it and approves it, then it's emailed directly to Mutual of Omaha, and you'll get an email within 3 hours indicating they've received it. So to be honest with you, while it's not an electronic application, it's pretty fast them receiving it and putting it in the queue. Okay, and this tells you what you need to include there in your application. Trick to the full illustration: email the full PDF of the illustration with the application. Include a scanned copy of the signature page. So basically, make sure you include the full illustration and you have it signed. Okay, pretty straightforward. The blank signature page and the scanned signature page must match. So what that's basically saying, if you send in the full illustration without it being signed yet, when you get it signed, they got to make sure they match. Again, I think you should just get it signed there if at all possible. Some of the value adds, you got guaranteed coverage for 20 years, premiums do not go up. You got the terminal, chronic, and critical. Ability to continue coverage to age 120. I sure hope I live to 120. Ability to reduce the death benefit, stop making payments. All right. Guaranteed insurability rider and lapse guard rider. So here's some examples. Now, what they did is they showed you what, they used to have for a 20-year ROP, which is no longer available. And I'm obviously, I can see there's a very good reason for that when they introduced this product. But you can see here, guys, in the majority of the cases, well, not majority, all of them, the IUL Easy Solve was less than the 20-year return of premium, like substantially less, as you can see here. Okay. Then it shows you, now here's the difference. Now, you know, it's telling you that this was how much they would return. This is how much DACE is showing over 20 years. But here's the cash value, okay? And then this shows the savings. So in other words, they were able to get more, save money, still get more back. So there still was a big difference on the savings there. So I guess that, to my opinion, that's probably why they got rid of it. This shows you the Easy Solve at 3%. I'm not going to go over this slide. The illustration is going to give you a 0 because it's, you know, nothing's guaranteed. A mid-level 3%, and then the current rate, which is the average of 6.16%, is what, you know, is shown here. So this shows you a IUL Express minimum premium solve versus Term Life Express 20 non-ROP. Minimum premium is the minimum they can do that's going to guarantee the coverage for 20 years. Okay. In my opinion, unless they just, it's one of those situations where like they like the IUL part, but they're just quite not there, you know, budget, but they could see themselves being able to increase that, you know, in the future later on. If I'm just comparing and I'm gonna either write an IUL Express minimum versus a Term Life Express, I think I'm just gonna do the term. And let me tell you the reason why. With the IUL Express, double check, you know, you're with the carrier, but I know in my case, my commission is 10% less than a term. Okay, but in most cases, as long as you're running the majority of them based on Easy Solve, the premium is going to be higher, they're going to be stickier, and the fact that the APV is higher, it's really a wash, or even a little bit high, a little bit more, you know, because of that. You know, last week I wrote a young couple, 26 years old, and basically the premium was, you know, I think it was somewhere around $20 for a term and $38 for that. So it's double the APV. So I'm okay with a little bit of a commission cut, and that's pretty standard. And again, based on mine, and I'm only going to tell you mine, my commission is higher on the IUL Express than it is the Flex Life with National Life. You know, so just pointing that out there. Work with your upline, and, you know, if you got any questions on, you know, kind of how to present it, how to write it. I just think you want to present it based on Easy Solve, because, hey, Mr. Client, what I'm going to be showing you is the most comprehensive coverage, not because I want you to spend more money, because I don't want to assume you don't want the best you can get. But if the price ain't right, just tell me. There's things we can do on that. Is that in the script? Y'all heard that before? Yes. So there you go. Here is the sales contest between where's that? February 1st. So it's already going on through the end of March. The level 1, if you write and place and pay, you get $5,000 in premium. You'll get $500 cash reward. Look at that. You bump it up to $7,500 plus, you're going to get additional $500. So a maximum of $1,000. It tells you that the cash reward will be paid by May 1st and be part of your regular commission statement. And it's showing you got through March 31st. They have to be placed and paid no later than April 15th, 2020. All right. So there you go. Get some extra cash. What can you do with $1,000? You're building a team. That's a bunch of extra zip ads. If you're just producing, that's couple 3-4 weeks of leads, you know, just for going out and protecting, you know, families and everything. So look at this. Here's another kicker. So I'm looking to go to Maui. That's me and my wife got married in Honolulu, And we always said we're going to go back and have our 20-year anniversary in Maui. But hey, if we can have our 14th anniversary in Maui, free expenses, all expenses paid, I think we'll take that. So that's kind of what we're rolling after this year. So the production requirements is 80,000. So that's 80,000 in paid, APV with a minimum of 20. Top 60 producers. The reality is most people's told me if you reach that 80,000 plus, you're going to be in the top 60. But they have to put that limit in there, And so here's the kicker. Look at this. Here's the product. So pretty much everything with the exception of this new IUL Express is 1 point per dollar. So one, production credit per dollar. But the IUL Express, and look, me and Chris were joking. I first seen that, I thought it was 12. There's a dot in there. I did the math. I'm like, wait a minute. I've got half of my trip earned on one case. That can't be right. Now that's a 1.2. So you're getting 20% more production credits for the same amount of business. Okay. So I did the math. Let's just assume, and I know that's not realistic, but let's just assume you're an IUL rock star and everything you route in Mutual of Omaha is IUL Express. So you take that 80,000, divide it by 1.2, really that's only 66.7. So, that's a big deal toward a trip. That's a big deal. So get the information there, mutualsalesleaders.com. Because if you're writing business, if you're producing, then you go after a trip. So don't spread your business out too far. These products and carriers are all very similar. Rates are very similar. Become an expert at one, and I put everything that I can with Mutual of Omaha. So in other words, if Mutual of Omaha won't accept them, then I'm going to go somewhere else. But if they will get qualified, they're going to Mutual of Omaha. So, because it's very rare that it's going to be a big difference, So that is the product information. Let me do this. I got a new share. I'm gonna go and just pull up a couple of quotes. Where's my time at? Yeah, we got plenty of time. I'm gonna pull up. Let me do this first. So here is the document that that I'm using, and you can get this, and we can get it to you. Your upline can get it to you. This basically just comes from the Larry Spot IUL training on his website. But basically, it's a couple of graphs. You want to be on a red line or blue line. So this blue line shows death benefit for an IUL. It's insurance with tax-free, risk-free savings growth. So death benefit's the same. You can do an increasing death benefit, but I'm typically just putting in level. But look at your savings. Look at your savings here. Look at it growing. Okay. Same here. S&P. This shows you a comparison with the S&P versus an index UL. Right. The red line is the S&P. The blue line is the IUL. Right. Now this is basically showing you money. So let's just assume in '98 you had an IUL that had 100,000 in it. It works the same. It's just to show visually the difference. So in '98 you had 100,000 in the stock market and 100,000 in an IUL. So you can see the market goes up, your money's gaining. When the stock market goes down, like it did in 2001, 2, you're staying the same. So you lock in your gains. Now the market's about to going back up, back up, back up, back up. All right. Now the market dips again to 0809. You don't dip. You stay the same. So had you have had your money in both accounts in '98 and 2010, you'd end up with basically $8,000, $9,000 gain on your stock money. 144. You doubled 150%, basically 145%. Right? That's a powerful little illustration to show people the difference. The difference is you don't lose when the market goes down. You gain when it goes up. Now, yes, there's going to be those years where the market's up 20, 30% like it is this year, been whatever last year, whatever, right? But at some point, we know that it's going to go down, and you know we're going to have a big correction. It's just part of it, you know. Regardless of, you know, I'm not whoever's in office. It don't really matter. It's going to at some point correct. It's how it works. So over here it shows you IUL growth. It shows you a mortgage. Shows you your IUL. So you know in a lot of times what you can run and you can show is you know, I've got one. I did a husband and wife. They're 50, mid 50s, 55, 56. They have a 30-year mortgage. Okay. I ran an illustration on their plans, and I ran an amortization schedule. In 20 years, based on the illustration, obviously it's not guaranteed, but based on the illustration, they will have enough money in their IUL to take it out and pay off their house, be done for the next 10 years. Or the better route would be to educate them that they can take monthly lumps, monthly, you know, withdrawals or loans, whatever, however you want to set it up, to let that insurance policy pay their mortgage for the next 10 years, so that it's still that lump sum, that larger amount, still growing. So now their mortgage is paid off. Now they got a tax-free retirement income. That's called mortgage acceleration. Okay. So, and then this here just goes over some of the benefits: tax-free growth of cash values, potential to earn indexed S&P returns on cash, access to your cash using tax-free strategies, privacy of all transactions. There's nothing reported to the IRS. Tax advantage accumulation that can be used to make mortgage payments and convert to a tax-free retirement income. And then obviously learn how to not give your money to the mortgage company. You know, you should be in your you know, your Q&A with your client at home. You guys have any, how much your mortgage? It's 30-year term. Do you have any plans to try to knock that out even sooner? They say yes. What should your mind be going with? Because guess what? If they give extra money to the mortgage company, right? They're spending money, sending more money to the mortgage company. Say they lose their job or they become disabled. Can they call the mortgage company up and say, hey, can you give me some of that money back so I can pay my bills? No. Can you call the insurance company up and say, hey, can I get some of that money out tax-free to pay my bills? Yes. Okay. So it's all about education, educating your client. Okay. All right. So that's that. Now what I want to do is I want to go and just run a couple little examples just to show you guys. Bear with me here. Where is my browser? Let me do this. All right. Okay. All right. Quotes. I'm going to the mobile quote here. I'm going to do this real quick, and then I'm going to go and show you an illustration. All the way right here. Index Universal Life Express. This is the easy solve, okay? So I'm in Alabama. I'm 38. I'm a male, no tobacco. Let's just say 150,000. Calculate. 78.92. I'm going to write that down. 78.92. 58. 307.52. All right. 38, 58. Just for we Alabama say shits and giggles. 18. Nah, I'm gonna change that. We ain't gonna talk to a lot of 18-year-olds. 28. 61.58. All right. So I'm gonna come over here and compare that to Term Life Express. Start with a 28. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to show you 20-year because of the fact that we know the rates, the death, it's guaranteed for 20. So just showing that. So 20-year male, everything's the same. 28.57, 68, 51, 58. But we'll get there in a minute. So there's a bigger difference there on a 28-year-old. 38. I was at 78.92. It's 46.59. Y'all see there? I mean, $25. I could pay $25 more and have coverage guaranteed for the rest of my life and grow cash value to potentially get my money back or even make money. Yeah, I'll take that. All right, 58. 58 on the 20 years, 248. It was 307. So a 58-year-old, 307.52. 248, $50. All right. Now I'm just going to run, I'm not going to do a bunch of them. I'm just going to run an illustration. Just want you guys to see. I probably just, I'm going to want you to see how easy it is. winflexweb.com, illustration. Starting new case, Mutual of Omaha. WinFlex, obviously, you see it can be used for a couple different companies, but I don't plan to use it anywhere but this one. Credit client. All right, John Doe. Let's do John Doe. He's my age. Standard non-tobacco. We want to solve for easy solve, which is the default. We're going to change this to premium because I want to put in the face amount, find out how much it's going to cost and get that. You can do the opposite. How much can you afford? Okay, let's see what we can get you, right? Put in the premium, it'll calculate the face. And I'm going to change it to solve for premium, and I'm going to change that to that 150 that we were quoting. Now, the only thing you really have to do, unless you really want to try to really complicate this thing and changes things, and you can, dig around there and figure it out. It shows you the caps and, and all that. But you've got other riders, it tells you what's, in there. Easy solve, giving you all those, you'd have to change. But you got to go here to report, agent info. You've got to put your info in here. Put it in once and save it. Now moving forward, all you got to do is search your name and boom, add it in there. Now he'll hit calculate. That's it. That's an illustration. And it's going to start calculating it, and it's a little bit slow. I don't really know. It's a third-party software, but it's a little slow, but just hang on here. It'll get here in a minute. Let's see if I can see. While we're waiting. All right, I'm going to answer some of these questions while we're waiting on this. 10% is better than anything out there currently anyhow. Yep, absolutely. Could you explain the cap again? What is the iPad PDF app? There's several of them out there. I use PDF Expert Pro. PDF Expert Pro is what I use. The cap is a cap. So if the market's up 20%, your client, based on the easy solve, will receive 10%. It's max 10% growth on their money per year with a zero floor, meaning that it can't go down. So a 10% cap. It can go up to 10% every year. Okay. IUL premium is a bit more. The value in it being a bit higher is a cash value multiple op. Yeah, absolutely. It sells itself, in my opinion. Where can we get a copy of this illustration? I'm showing you that, Stella. You have to register at winflexweb.com. So that's how you can run illustrations. And yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so illustrations ran. You can see it shows the death benefit. It shows the initial annual premium, shows the target premium. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier. The easy solve is basically target. It's a little bit different there, but it's not much. It's showing guaranteed for 20, premium pay 82 years. Okay. So let's click on the illustration. I don't really look at those charts. I just pull up the illustration. Now it is 36 pages long, so I'm not gonna bug you with all of this legal stuff. But second page shows you the death benefit, shows you how it's level for 82 years. I mean, I'm not gonna live that long. Shows me my initial premium, $78.92 is what we already talked about, and the 1 year 100% participation. Okay, shows you your riders. You know, when you run one, especially I would tell you to read through this, educate yourself. I would absolutely tell you not to bore or really bog your client down with all this mess in here. However, I would tell you to go over these living benefits very heavy. You can see the Mutual of Omaha added some additional riders, or excuse me, ailments to their critical illness riders. So now they've got major organ, that's a new one, age, major burns, aortic aneurysm surgery, dementia, including Alzheimer's, right? I mean, goodness, you're dealing with someone in their late 50s, maybe even early 60s, and you can talk to them that, hey, you diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's, you have the ability to advance 80% of your death benefit. I mean, come on. Anyway, so yeah, go over that. So this shows the caps again. I mean, I'm not going to bore you guys with all this. This shows the average, this 25-year on here. So page 23 is where we finally get to some numbers. Here we go. This is the signature page. This shows a summary, right? So this shows you the guaranteed, which is nothing's guaranteed other than the benefit for 20 years. The midpoint, which they're showing 3.08, that's basically half of what's the average over 25 years, okay? So this is what I'm obviously talking about the most here. You can't tell your client this is guaranteed when it's not. We don't know what the stock market's going to do in the future. We just know what it's done over the last 25, and we can expect to be very similar. That's how the stock market works. So you can see, guys, here in 20 years, mine would be approximately a little over 18,000 in cash value. In 30 years, be 43,000. Okay. I didn't write that down. What was that? What was my quote? Should have done that. Hold on. I want to go back and tell you, so you can see what how much you would have spent on a term policy. Again, now this is not trying to bring down term policy. You don't ever shoot yourself in the foot. This is just educating your client so that they can make a rational decision based on their own, circumstances and what they want. Term, it plays a major role in protecting folks. So my 20-year term was 46.59. So 46.59 times 240. That's $11,181 I would have spent on a 20-year term. On here, I would have spent $18,941, but my accumulation value is $18,166. So I literally spent $800 over 20 years to have this life insurance coverage. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. And obviously it continues to go on. The longer you have it, the more it's going to grow. Therefore, you're actually coming out, ahead. So that is it. I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to offer up any other questions. Let's see.
Hey, Jeremiah, this is Brett. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Good. Good morning. So I wanted to ask you, I know there's a lot of flexibility on these style of products when people want to put stuff in. What if you get somebody who, like IULs are great for small business owners too, and and doctors and lawyers and divorcees, because that kind of money you can't be litigated for the money that's in an IUL. So they like that classification right there. So if you get a small business owner that's like, hey, can I put a bunch of money down into this thing also?
No.
Does it have the flexibility to do that?
No, there's obviously, I wasn't going to get into the whole MEC. I don't quite understand it enough. What I will tell you is that the simplicity's sake is there's going to be minimums and maximums. So there's going to be a maximum per year and maximum over 7 years that they can put into their IUL to keep it life insurance, not an investment for the government's sake with having this tax-free. So if you get a small business owner, I mean, I don't think this product's really for the small business owner, because if you're talking with them, they're probably going to be needing to want to put more if that's what it's in. That you may have to go with National Life for that. But to answer your question is no, you cannot just dump money in things of that nature. You may be able to do a single premium or something like that. I don't. Guys, I'll have to defer.
That's fine. I didn't want to add. That's fine. I wasn't able to be on the screen this morning. I was driving, so I don't want to add complexity. I think it's just from listening to you, I need to get on the website.
Those questions directly to Mutual of Omaha sales desk, and they can be able to, if you run into something unique, this is my deal today is really just for our everyday mortgage protection homeowner that we're dealing with on a daily basis.
Well, I love it, because if it's that simple and you really can start having a conversation about, look at, this is an opportunity for you to be able to pay your house off 10 years early, or just earlier without quoting years. Sometimes I get people that, hey man, that's an awful lot of, like, we get to a certain age bracket, that's an awful lot of money for term, call it $150 a month maybe, right? But for a little bit more, still cheaper than ROP. Now all of a sudden you got an investment product, and they're like, all right, I'm cool with that. I like that.
And when I showed you the 20-year compared to this, had I bumped that up to 30, like on the 28 and 38-year-old, you're really even getting even that much closer to being similar. Obviously on a 58-year-old, here's the beautiful part. Can we do a 30-year term on a 58-year-old? The answer is no. But if this thing is funded correctly, it can last 30 years or longer. So, hey, we've got you protected for your entire mortgage. So what I was going to do, guys, let me pull, I'm pulling up here. Anybody else, while I'm doing this, have any other questions? Stella, I'll get that document over to Chris. He can get that out. Also, anybody that wants to do the IUL training, get with your upline. There's a passcode for that, because it may not be right for depending on how new you are. You want to keep the main thing. And his training is specifically talking about mortgage acceleration, National Life. It's a good bit more complicated than my IUL training today, so we want to do that. But all right, in the past 2 weeks, I have written. Hold on, let me get here. Bear with me, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've written 6 of these in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, I haven't written a term in the last 2 weeks because of this. It was either, and I had one, this guy was 25. He wasn't that smart. So he wanted to think about it, with a brand new truck sitting out in the driveway and his wife and 6-month-old kid in there. But it was $38, I gave it to him. So I'm like, what the hell you want to think about? But whatever. Okay. Is there any other questions? Feel free to unmute or wave your hand if you need to unmute it.
Hey, Jeremiah, quick input here.
Yeah.
There's one thing I want to make sure that we're very clear, not only this product, but any IUL advanced market insurance product. Make sure, and Brett, this is not on you. I just heard a word that you said, and again, you're talking in general terms, so I'm not reprimanding you or anything like that. But I just want to make sure, because sometimes this word can slip out. Anytime we're talking about IUL, never use the word investment with the client. That's a huge no-no. That will get you in trouble. That will get not only a E&O claim, but that will get your license pulled. So these are not investment products. These are insurance products. And so make sure when you're talking, it's really easy when we're talking, especially when we're using those graphs like Jeremiah showed. We show how the S&P works, how you don't lose money. If you're not thinking, you could easily slip a word like that in and really not mean to. So, erase that from your vocabulary when you're talking about insurance. Insurance is not investments. We are not investment advisors. Never use that in a home. That will cost you your business. So, we do business the right way. So just don't get in that trap. Again, just want to make sure that everybody understands that with IULs. A couple other things here on the, if you're new in this business, and this is a great simple product, and Jeremiah did a great job breaking down. Make sure when he was talking about doing the paper application. My recommendation is, if you haven't done one of these before, go ahead and enter it as a paper application into opt and let it come through the system so we can review it. I mean, you can do the email thing and we can go through that, but especially if you're still young and new in the business and you've never even written an IUL, I wouldn't be trying to bypass the system, sending it direct to the carrier yet. We can do that, and we'll walk you through that. But brand new, learning how to walk with this stuff, don't overcomplicate it for you. So just a couple of thoughts there to throw in.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chris. So on that note, guys, it really is no different, because unless it's your first application period, you hadn't even been contracted yet, yeah, that's got to go to corporate. But if you make sure when you go in, you put paper app, it's going to ask you how to send it to the company. The default, at least it is on mine, I imagine it's got a fax number in it. Just drop down it, put email, and then put that email in. So what that does, then it goes to your upline, okay, or agency owner. They then will turn around and review the application. When they approve it, it's immediately emailed to Mutual of Omaha. So it's all that's doing is just making sure we have a chance to review it and make sure it's right before it goes on, because that'll save you a lot of heartache trying to go back and forth with the insurance carrier. Now, if we mess up, no, that's on you, it ain't on us. But but we'll try to make sure it's right. But like with me, guys, I've done it a lot. So all I'm doing is sending them directly there, and then I put it in as an e-app. So I'm just reporting the numbers to Symmetry. Regardless, it's no different. If you do an e-app, you got to make sure you put it into opt so that you get credit for it. One, the Symmetry knows you wrote a policy. Two, and you have the ability to, for your promotion guidelines, obviously. So, yeah, less work, just enter an opt. So definitely, unless you're extremely experienced, just put it in opt. I just will make sure it's lifeapps@mutualofomaha.com was that email. And just because obviously email is much more efficient and faster than a damn fax machine. So just make sure you're using that. Guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. I didn't anticipate this taking an hour, but it has. I hope I've added some value. I hope that you guys, can really gain this, because, just caution yourself, your wording, and don't be downplaying a term. You're just educating your clients on something that they probably don't know about. And you're doing it because you want to help them, and you're giving them an opportunity to really, do something good. So just be careful with that. I would encourage you to counsel with your upline if you're going to present, for the first time, and all that good stuff. So All right, guys. I'm Dilly, you know I'm no nonsense, but hope y'all have a great day. Time to get on the phones, rag it up, knock it out next week. Great. Have a good day. Appreciate it.